Okay, hello everyone, it is Tsuki, and we are currently in queue for Syrcus Tower. Hopefully just about to get in. I know, finally, Syrcus Tower. Actually, so from the time that I finished recording me actually unlocking Syrcus Tower to now, as me recording actually going to be going inside Syrcus Tower, it's actually been almost a week, actually. It might not seem that way because of when I posted the video, but it's actually been a little bit of a while. I've just been kind of busy doing other stuff, so yeah, it feels nice to be making some more progress on this character. I really want to get to Heaven's Word sometime soon, but we'll have to see, because I don't know, I feel like there isn't a whole lot coming down the Final Fantasy XIV pipeline anytime soon. I feel like I think we get like a small patch that adds a piece of content that I'm not interested in like a couple weeks, and then probably about a month after that happens is when we'll get the next patch, like big patch filled with content and stuff. So there's quite a bit. I'd say there's a solid 5-6 weeks of like just free space for me to just do whatever I want. So who knows, we might be able to get through it. I like how we missed like one healer and one DPS, and now we're back in queue, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but just hanging around Gridania at the moment. I'm actually gonna see if I can't do anything in the gold saucer. There might be something neat there. Maybe there's like a gate I can do. Although I hate face off. I also hate any way the wind blows, because that's annoying. It really is. But yeah, I've just kind of been doing other stuff. I've been playing The Vagrant, which has been a lot of fun, actually. I've been doing a little bit of Heaven on High still. I've been playing this game. I've just been doing a lot of rendering, and also I've been working on a new project that I want done within about a month. And I know, alright, a month. That sounds like a lot of time, but if you know me, then I procrastinate way too much. So the fact that I'm actually making an effort to try and get some progress done now, even though I'm like a month out, is pretty impressive for myself, if I do say so myself. I am the most humblest of people. But yeah, so that's what I've been up to. And so yeah, I just decided I at least get Syrcus Tower done today. I have a free day to just kind of do whatever I want right now. And I'm not sure how I'm gonna spend my time, but I do want to do some stuff for the channel today. So we're gonna go ahead and see if we can't do this before Syrcus Tower pops right now. Well, it doesn't look like we're gonna be able to do it. Definitely not you. It's definitely not you. Oh, it definitely does not matter anymore. Man, whenever I actually try to do something productive, that's when they give me the queue. That's why I don't actually try and do anything when I'm in queue. I just kind of sit around, do other stuff while I wait. Woohoo, Syrcus Tower. I remember doing a lot of Syrcus Tower back when it came out. I did a lot of Labyrinth of the Ancients, and it was fun. But Syrcus Tower, I don't know what it was about Syrcus Tower, but I really liked this one a lot better. I don't know why. It also looks way prettier than Labyrinth of the Ancients, in my opinion. But I feel like out of the 3 original Alliance raids in the Crystal Tower saga, that this one's probably the one I like the most. Or at least, not like the most, but I played the most. I think World of Darkness, which is after this one, was probably I liked it better, like just in terms of aesthetics and bosses and stuff like that. But I don't know, I feel like I did this one way more than I did any of the other 2. The first boss isn't as much of a problem anymore, I don't believe. In fact, I don't think I've even seen the phase for that boss, the problematic phase for that boss, in a very long time. Now, Syrcus Tower and Labyrinth of the Ancients and actually no, Syrcus Tower was the first one. Labyrinth of the Ancients was the only Alliance raid that you had 2 tanks per party. I think this was the first time they made it so that you only had 3. So there's only supposed to be 3 tanks in all of the Alliance raids, and they changed Labyrinth of the Ancients later so that you could do it with only 3 tanks. To be fair, you didn't need more than maybe 2 tanks in Labyrinth of the Ancients for the majority of it anyway. So plus everyone just outgears all of the mechanics anyway. Back in Labyrinth of Ancients, as we saw, I was trying to do mechanics and promptly died for it. So I guess it's discouraged to even do mechanics, which is unfortunate because I don't know, I just like to do things the proper way. I don't know, it's kind of my way. It's kind of my style. There's a mechanic that we're almost certainly not going to see, where if you take too long to kill Scylla, you have to like stand on the platforms or you'll get petrified or something like that. I haven't seen that mechanic happen in like 3 years, so like I think back when Heavensward came out, I still saw it happen occasionally. Now, the main mechanic for this fight that is fairly unavoidable is that occasionally you'll get tethers. If you get the lightning tether, you're supposed to take it to like one of the 3 lightning pillars that you kind of see around the room. If you get the ice pillar, you can try and run away from it, but it'll eventually catch up to you no matter what you do, and it'll freeze you in place. And the people who get the fire tethers are supposed to bring them to the frozen people to melt them and create ice puddles, or I guess it would be water puddles. Create water puddles, and if you stand in the water puddle when she does Ancient Flare, it decreases the amount of damage it does. Although, if I'm being honest, I'm pretty sure you can just stand in Ancient Flare and live with the amount of gear we have nowadays. Oh no, I got the ice. Well, at least I got my Shadow Fang off. Yeah, and if you're frozen, as you can probably imagine, you can't move anywhere. So it's kind of on the healers to try and keep you alive if you're frozen, since you can't actually dodge out of anything. See, Ancient Flare only did 3,300 damage to me, which it's not a lot. That's like half my HP. It would have done a lot less if I was in a puddle, but even if there were puddles, I would not have been able to go to them because I was frozen, so let it go. I like how that boss is almost like a striking dummy, to be honest. I feel like a lot of the bosses are basically not much more difficult than a striking dummy at this point. There's just occasional mechanics you have to do. I feel like at this point, probably the most troublesome boss is probably Amon, just because people underestimate just how devastating not killing the ads can be. Which it feels like that's a very common theme in all of these Alliance raids, is that people have a really hard time killing ads. It doesn't matter what Alliance raid it is. If there's anything that requires you to kill ads, people have a really hard time doing that. Also, the music in here is amazing. I mean, it's Final Fantasy, right? The music's always amazing in any Final Fantasy game. Like you can't pick up a Final Fantasy game and not say that the music is amazing. Even like those mobile games, like Brave XIV, I think Record Keeper, like they still have great music. It's amazing. World of Final Fantasy had great music. I love the end credits of World of Final Fantasy. That is one of the best things I've ever seen. Like, I've seen a lot of cool end credits sequences before in movies and games, but World of Final Fantasy's end credits are so amazing. And if you haven't seen those before, I highly recommend you look them up. Like, I don't know, I don't really think there's any spoilers in them. I mean, it's mostly just all for fun. But if you haven't played World of Final Fantasy and you don't know what I'm talking about, there's some amazing credits in there. I don't even know why I'm trick attacking right now. It's just literally no point. But alright. Should have saved trick attack for the boss, honestly. Man, I love these people who are just gonna stand there and wait for the the freaking door to open rather than helping us kill them. Ugh. I always forget this guy's name because this guy's name is freaking like way too long for me to remember. Part of me feels like I should probably make an effort to take diversion since I don't have Shadewalker yet. But I mean, I think I'm doing all right. I mean, at this point, a lot of the tanks don't even have their DPSing combos. Well, that's not true. I think you have Soul Eater combo at like 38. And you should have Storm's Path and Storm's Eye by now. I think it's just Paladin who doesn't have any DPSing combos at this point. All they have is Rage of Alone. They have Riot Blade, but they don't have any combo finishers after that. Now there are ads here. This is the one permitted time where I say screw the ads because we honestly have enough DPS to kill this before the ads even become a problem. And honestly, if you just focus the boss down and kill him fast enough, you don't have to worry about the ads. And it's pretty hard not to be able to do that nowadays. Back then, there used to be this whole thing. You killed the ads, and then he would charge an attack. And you see these platforms on the edge of the arena. We would jump from platform to platform, killing ads. It was really fun and cool and kind of annoying, if I'm being honest. And I haven't done that in again several years. So it's funny. It's just thinking back on all the other stuff we had to do. Thankfully, World of Darkness, unlike this raid and Labyrinth of the Ancients, most of the mechanics are still fairly intact for World of Darkness since it's the last in the tier. So even though we have all this gear, we're still item level synced enough that the mechanics do matter in that particular raid, which is good because if they didn't matter, I'd be a little upset because I don't know. I like actually thinking about the stuff I'm actually doing. That's why I'm not a huge fan of doing fates. Like, I know a lot of people like to do fates to level, but man, was that boring. Not to say I haven't done my fair share of fates, because trust me, I had to do a ton for my my Atma weapon and all that kind of stuff. I must say, if you are a new player, going through the Crystal Tower raid is actually probably one of the better things you can do. If you're not going to do all the optional dungeons and stuff for the poetic bonus, going through the raids is not a bad thing to do, because there is a roulette specifically just for these alliance raids, and it gives quite a bit of the raids themselves give quite a bit of poetics. And also, you should be able to pick up a weekly quest that if you do one of each of the Crystal Tower, you get a free upgrade item for one of the Ironworks gear that you can pick up. So free upgrade item. I mean, the upgrade items only cost 100 poetics each nowadays, but you know, free upgrade item, you really can't complain. Plus, you'll get like several hundred poetic tomestones doing this. And I love how we just don't want to have any kind of order to any of this. Now, there are going to be ads that spawn. I consider these ads to be fairly important to kill. There'll be the slimes in particular. If the slimes reach the boss, they spawn on the edges of the arena. If they reach the boss, they will do very bad things. Like they'll silence, they'll pacify, they'll generally make it a lot more difficult to kill the boss. It's a good idea to actually focus them down. Did the slime reach a boss? The Kumkums as well, I mean, they're not that bad, but you can make it so that if you have the little tethers, you can shrink the Kumkums and make it easier on yourselves killing them. Otherwise, they just kind of attack just whoever. It's actually not that big of a deal. I feel like the slimes are the important ones to kill. Also, if you get the bomb debuff, you kind of just have to wait for the healers to dispel them off you. But if you do get them, you want to try and run away from people so you're not knocking people back constantly. Honestly, I feel like I'm talking about these mechanics like they're a big deal nowadays. They really aren't, unfortunately. Pretty sure you could ignore the majority of them if you really wanted to. And then all the responsible, upstanding people like myself would probably take care of them for you, and you'd be hunky-dory. You'd be alright. Now for curtain call, you want to be hiding behind one of these frozen people. If there aren't any frozen people to hide behind, you will die. We're going to get a cutscene when we move on past this boss. I'm going to skip it because it's just one of those introductory cutscenes, and just seeing the general attitude we've had within this entire raid, doesn't look like these guys are the most patient bunch, which, fair enough. I don't think anyone really cares about waiting for people at this point. People just want their stuff. They want their levels, they want their poetics, they want to go. It's not the poetics there. They want their mendacity, I guess, nowadays, huh? They just want to go. They just want their stuff. Oh man, he looks pretty menacing. I mean, we're gonna kick his ass in like 2 minutes. 3 minutes tops. Oh, look at that. See, look at that. A healer pull this time. Wow, well, I didn't get my trick attack off. I mean, I should have been smart about it. And by smart, I mean just freaking not trust anybody and just use True North there. But, you know. Funny thing about this fight, a lot of people still get themselves killed because they forget about a fairly easy mechanic, and that is to stack up with the rest of the party and then levitate when he does his ancient quagga, I think it is. It hits the ground and does a ton of damage. Also, you do need to stand in those yellow circles. Ranged particularly, ranged and healers particularly. But yeah, if you're standing on ground level when he does ancient quagga, I do believe that's what it's called. It will kill you almost certainly. I think maybe you'll be able to survive if you're a tank, but if not, okay, I'm gonna go to bees. Yes, and I do remember where all of these circles spawn because I have a particular part in my memory where I store useless information like that. So thank you, me, for remembering that. Alright, so here are the stackables. Preferably, you don't want to stack them on top of each other. And then here's Ancient Quagga. If you're not standing on it like this bard over here, you're going to die. Oh, or not. I guess not. You'll just take a ton of damage. Looks like you can survive nowadays with the gear. So even that, you can survive. That's interesting and honestly kind of disappointing. I wanted to see people die, man. You know, at least I can say, at least people died in Titan. At least that hasn't changed. Like, when we did Titan earlier, at least people died. It's nice to say that of all the things back in A Realm Reborn that have changed because of just how much gear we have nowadays, that at least in Titan, that hasn't changed. That's very reassuring. I'm glad that part of my nostalgic feelings for Titan have been greatly satisfied by the fact that we still wiped to Titan and people still died to Titan. That's just, it tugs at my heartstrings, it really does, because it is kind of disappointing that that these fights are as easy and forgiving as they are nowadays with all the gear. And why did we do that? Oh goodness. Also, yes, I know I misused my Mudra, and now I'm gonna have like 8 seconds without Huton because I'm so used to having Armor Crush, if I'm being honest. It's not a very good excuse, but I've been playing Ninja lately on my main to get used to it so that when I do reach that level on this character, I'll be ready. But man, having Armor Crush, so helpful. And Armor Crush is just another combo you can use. Does less damage than Aeolian Edge, but it extends your Huton timer, so you don't... Theoretically, you never have to recast Huton. I don't want any of this. I'm just gonna leave, honestly. There you go. And that was Syrcus Tower. The hollow shell of Syrcus Tower. It's just a shell of what it used to be, if I'm being honest. But that was Syrcus Tower. Like I said, World of Darkness will be a little bit more intact to how it was at launch, which I'm really excited about. But these first two definitely, we just breezed right past it. Didn't even have to worry about most of the mechanics. Kind of disappointing, but it is what it is, I suppose. Estella. Man, this place looks freaking beautiful, I must say. It's also my first time seeing it like on like maximum graphic settings and stuff on my PC, so it actually looks especially beautiful, because the first time I saw this it was on PS3, so it's actually a very stark contrast there. Very stark contrast. Oh, Nero, you put on your armor. Oh man, the top of this tower is absolutely gorgeous. I must say, as cool as World of Darkness is, Syrcus Tower, extremely beautiful to look at. I feel like a lot of people who play this game don't fully appreciate just how pretty some of the stuff actually looks. which is a shame because there are some extremely beautiful zones and dungeons and stuff like that. Like one of my favorite fights in the game has one of the most beautiful arenas, and we haven't gotten to it yet. It's in Heaven's Word, but it's one of my favorites. It's just everything about it looks amazing. I love that fight. The aesthetics of that fight, it's just great. And the sound design of that fight as well, because it involves scales and tipping. And if you've played through Heaven's Word, you probably already know the fight I'm talking about. But there's scale tippings and just the sound effects of the scales and just the metal clanging. It's just amazing. There's so much good in this game. It sounds very generic when I say it like that, but there's so much amazing stuff in this game. Just sound, music. Whoa, man, calm down. Be still, my beating heart. Oh hey, look, it's more of the evil clones that we fought earlier. Forgot to mention that, but in one of the trash pulls there's a bunch of Doga and Une clones that we were fighting, which it specifically says that they are those. Wow, we're having an echo vision right now? Is that what's happening? Did that tank just pull out a freaking rod? What? Yeah, why do the tanks have black mage rods? I'm confused. And why are the white mages swinging their freaking canes like axes? What is happening right now? What? What the heck? This is so bizarre for some reason. How is Sid not dead? Okay, now they're holding their canes like axes. Nope, now he's trying to cast something like a black... What is happening? This is so weird. And I like how I'm just sitting here watching all this. Okay, Purple Eye of Sauron. Oh man, that clone still has Nero's gunblade sticking out of her. That's brutal. Don't worry, we'll leave them in there for 6 months. That's how long it takes for the for 2 more patch cycles to go through. About 6 months. 6 to 7 months. Alright, let's go back and talk to Rambros. Hello there. Well, to be fair, if Nero's dead, he can't cause any more mischief, can he? Know that it may be a while before we are ready to act. In fact, it might be about 6 to 7 months. Hey, we did it! The World of Darkness. Yes, that will have to wait until later. There's a couple of other things I would like to do. I do try and want to tackle things in order, so we'll tackle the World of Darkness sometime later. I don't know when, but we have a couple dungeons on hand right now. We have patch 2.3's main story to start. Lots of stuff we can possibly do at this point. Heck, we even have side story stuff like Hildebrand. Haven't even touched on that. That is a whole thing on itself, and there's actually quite a few trials in the Hildebrand story too. I think. In fact, I think there's 3, which is quite a bit for a side story. There's 3 different like trials, I think. Yeah, it might be a couple other instance fights too. I don't remember. But anyways, that's gonna be it for this video. Thank you all for watching, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next video, whatever that might end up being. Maybe one of the dungeons we have on hand, or maybe we'll start with patch 2.3 story. We'll find out when we get to it, because I'm just kind of winging this as I go along. But yeah, that's how we've been doing it, and that's how we're gonna probably do it until we can finally manage to get to Heavensward, which I am very excited to do. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to tackle more of this, and we can get to Heavensward soon. So until then, sayonara, bye bye.